Hi guys, welcome back to the Focus on Focusing podcast. And I am one of your hosts, Tanya. And today I have my two other hosts with me. Hi, this is Olivia.
And this is Cynthia.
And we have a very special guest today with us.
Hi everybody, my name is
TJ, I'm
CJ.
so
I'm
happy
so
to
happy to be
be here
here
and just
and
talk
just
about
talk
all
about all things
ADHD.
ADHD.
Okay, welcome to the podcast. Today we'll be talking about ADHD, especially in college students who might be undiagnosed or suspect they have it. We're going to dive into the symptoms and challenges that you may face being undiagnosed and also some strategies to help manage your ADHD. So, we're going to start off the podcast with an icebreaker. The question is, if your brain had a Spotify playlist, what would your top song of the day be? And I'll ask Cynthia first.
I think my top song today would be Let It Happen by Tame Impala. It's just like kind of like a chill, almost not too uplifting, but still just something to ease the day out.
Okay, I would say that mine right now is This Magic Moment by the Drifters. It's a bit of an older song, but I just feel like it really goes with the fall vibe that we're having today, with it being cold and rainy and all the leaves changing.
And I would have to say my all-time fave right now, this year and forever in my life would be Break It Right Back by Megan Maroney. It is not a fall song by any means. Anything's falling, it's my heart and it shatters. But we love Megan because she knows how to, pick you right back up. So shout out to Megan. She's chill. Love her.
Love that.
Tanya, I don't think you said yours. What was yours?
Mine is Superpowers by Daniel Caesar. I love him so much and he just fits a vibe in my life. Honestly, it's very calming to me. I listen to every day.
Pretty sweet.
Okay, so now we can get into some signs and symptoms that college students may experience if they suspect that they have any ADHD. Some big ones are inattention, hyperactivity or impulsivity, executive function challenges, and what executive function challenges may may be are like planning, organizing, time management. There also could be emotional impacts such as anxiety or stress, frustration, and oftentimes low self-esteem. And some if you might experience like forgetting assignments or constantly trying to multitask or just struggling with focusing long lectures, sometimes this can be very normal. Everyone dozes off from time to time, but if you feel like it's impeding your um, well-being or your schoolwork, then it might be cause to for like looking more into um, what it could be. Like it could be ADHD, it could be something else, but yeah. So these are just some signs and symptoms. We're not saying that these mean that you absolutely have ADHD, but it could be um, a sign.
And then so some of the ways that ADHD goes undiagnosed in college, going back to kind of these symptoms that we listed, a lot of college students, like I'm sure as you're listening to this, you're agreeing, like, yes, I've definitely done one of these at least once. Like everybody's forgotten an assignment or slept through class or like feel like they're just all over the place because that is normal in this time of our life. So a lot of times students will just be like, oh, it must just be because I'm in college and I have a lot going on. Like I don't have ADHD or like I don't have something else further than it's just a lot of stress or like I'm staying up late studying for exams and that's why I fell asleep. Like I feel like because of this time, like everybody can like trace it back to something versus looking in and being like, well, this is weird. Like maybe I should look into it. Another thing is there's a big difference between ADHD in females and in males. So sometimes in females, you'll see maybe more inattentiveness versus the hyperactive side. And I think this is probably true just like in general, people might be like, well, like, yeah, like I'm kind of hyperactive, but the other symptoms don't apply to me, or vice versa. And I think it's just kind of like looking into that and being and looking at all of them, or even just going to a doctor and saying like, hey, I have like challenges in this one area, but maybe not in others. Could this be some kind of diagnosis of something? And then some of the other reasons is it's just people, like I said earlier, just blame it kind of on laziness or stress or procrastination rather than it actually being like a diagnosis. And there is still in our society today, it's getting better, but there is still kind of this stigma around mental health and getting diagnosed for having mental health. It can be seen sometimes as like it's this bad thing or it's kind of this big scary diagnosis. And but I think it's important to remember that many people have also shared the same experience and you're not alone in all of this.
And now we're going to interview our very special guest today.
Thank you.
My first question for you is going to be, what is your background with ADHD?
Thank you so much, Tanya. That's a great question. My background with ADHD stems to the ages, or no, I found out what ADHD was when I was like in the third grade because I realized that, like, yes, I'm smart in school. Like, I was always, not to toot my own horn, but like, I was always the high achieving student in my class. And like, I kept my test averages up. Like, the teachers needed me to be in their class because I looked good on paper, honestly. And my mom, when she like heard news of this, like of course she was ecstatic because my other two brothers are like not as intelligent as I am. And so, and I love them to death, but like they're just not. So she was like holding on to it with like her entire life. And so I remember like looking into what ADHD was because my best friend Max at the time, he had ADHD and he would talk about it all the time. And I'm like, okay, I get it, like you're crazy, but like what? I'm kidding. But like I just asked him like what does that mean? And he just delved into it and I was like, wait, maybe I have that too. And so I asked my mom and she was like, no, like you're in the gifted program, you know, like you make all these good grades, you're really talkative, like there's no way you have ADHD. And so yeah. But I always knew that there was something there. And then eventually when I got old enough, I like did like the pre-screen test and like they all say the same thing. Like you definitely have ADHD. I just never got the official diagnosis.
You and I have like a similar story. I feel like when I started to like experience like more symptoms, and I was the same way. Like, well, from middle school, like I was not really like trying that hard in school, so like I didn't have the best grades. But then when I got to high school, like that's when I really like locked in and like I kept my grades up and like going back to like the high functioning thing that we were talking about earlier, like some students just really are high functioning and like just because they hold good grades, that doesn't mean that they don't have ADHD or that they can't have it. Um, so yeah, and then the same thing with like my parents. I tried telling my parents like, "Hey, I really think like I need like professional like diagnosis." And they'd be like, "No, like what do you mean? Like you're doing good in school. Like you're just forgetful. You're lazy. Like you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that or like yeah." So it was just stuff like that. But now I want to ask you when I guess you kind of talked about when you first realized that you might have ADHD, but was there like a specific moment?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely crossed my mind when I was younger. But it was only that it just crossed my mind. Like it never,
Right.
my mom said no, so of course I was like, whatever. It wasn't until I got to my sophomore year of high school, I had to end up moving schools twice that year. And when I got to my third school, I was like, all right, like I don't know, something in my brain just like switched. And I realized that like I wasn't as attentive and like I didn't have like the same social status anymore. And then it was COVID. So like my brain was already so scattered. And then I was realizing that like when I was doing online school and I wasn't in like a consistent social setting, that like I just wasn't doing as good.
Right.
And I realized that like maybe I was only doing so good because school was like a performance in a sense. Like I go to school, I play the part of like and so yeah, like playing the smart sibling and once I realized that like those were all like facades I was just showing to the public, then like I just started to settle in on the fact that like maybe there's something going on there that just needs to be explored. But of course, my mom said the same thing, and I waited till I got to college for me to really fully explore it. And so then I did like pre-screening, what, and here we are.
Yeah, nice. So, kind of going off of what you said about doing the pre-screenings, what has made you not want to go and get fully tested or like be fully diagnosed?
Um, I think what lets me not, I mean, what made me not get fully tested is that, like I still do fine. Like, yes, there are struggles sometimes, but it's more like social struggles rather than like productivity struggles. Like, I can still go to the gym and like go to work and handle my business and like complete the tasks that are given to me. Like, are there bumps in the road? Yes, but I think that I've been masking for so long that I just found the right tools to help me minimize the brain fog. But like when there's no like set task at hand, it gets a little crazy. Like Olivia knows I've known Olivia for 2 years. Like, if there's any kind of break in silence, or if there's any kind of like start in silence in any kind of social setting, I'm usually the first one to like say something. And it's not like something productive, it's something stupid. Like, I seen the reprise to Moana when she like gets struck by lightning. Like, bro, what's happening? But like in a productive scale, academic, career wise, like I've just learned to do fine. I think I just carry those tools on wherever I go.
Okay.
Well, I have another question for you,
Oh, okay, period.
and it's gonna be, how have you dealt with your symptoms of ADHD?
Oh, perfect. So I don't know what I can say about like middle school, high school kind of thing. I think I just was really ignorant to it because like my mom said like there shouldn't be anything wrong with me. Like I do pretty well. Um, but when I got to college, I just wasn't doing the best, and I just started to realize that like okay, there's a bigger issue at hand. And I don't think there's any set thing that I do to keep them under control. I don't even know what I'm keeping under control. I just know that like if I'm not locked in all the time, then like I just, like it just doesn't happen. Or whatever that is, it just doesn't happen. Whether that's like me doing schoolwork, like there's still laundry at home that I've been meaning to fold for like 4 days. Like
Me too.
I excel in some things and I don't in others. So I don't want to say that like I'm dealing with them, but like I think I just know how to get by. And I think that just goes back to masking and being a high achieving student is that like that's what you learn to do your entire life. So once it becomes like part of your routine, like it's just kind of hard to just pick it apart. But I get by, I have an occasional glass of wine. Um, Not that that helps, but it's something.
Right.
Also, I'm 21. Just to clarify. Thank you.
So do you think you would ever go and get tested for ADHD? Or do you think you're kind of just like fine with like as you stated, like kind of how you're dealing with everything now?
Thank you, Robin. I think I definitely would go get tested for ADHD, just not right now. I think, like I said before, like I've just learned what works, and I'm already at the end of my college career, so it's kind of like I did the thing.
Right.
And I'm still my parents' insurance, and it's just like not worth the hassle. So like I definitely would go get tested and get medicated. I just think I would do it on my own terms completely, just to cancel out outside noise.
Right.
And I'm not mad at that answer either, because like I said, like I've done the thing, like not be medicated for anything. And don't be wrong, I've definitely tried the medications that, like Adderall and like the other medical forms of Adderall. And, they do have the desired effect. I just think that like I do fine with or without. So right now we're without. And that's fine.
Yeah.
So, with all that being said, what would you recommend to those who are also undiagnosed and or they suspect that they might have ADHD?
What I would say is that you just have to do your homework honestly. Like going back to the misattribution thing that Olivia was talking about, I think sometimes people do um possess the traits of like laziness or like like they're just simply stressed out or they're just really bad procrastinators and they don't have ADHD and like that's their truth. But then there are people who are, how can I say this? just do your homework. Like everybody's different. Like I don't want to say that like there's a manual to everybody. I believe that every brain is set up differently, and like, there's some people with ADHD who are like off the walls, running rampant, like Doogie Howser, or there's people who are like Teddy Duncan and get their stuff together and they live the life that they want, but like they just can't focus sometimes, and that's okay. It just it's what matters to you, and I don't think you should like look to the public or like your friends to like sway your decisions. Like I said, I do just fine unmedicated. I've tried the medications before. I do fine on those as well. It's just kind of up to you. Um, and yeah, just do your own personal homework. If you feel like this is something that needs to be addressed medically, then you do that. Um, if you feel like you have the right coping mechanisms, and when I say the right ones, I mean healthy ones, like the right ones, and you do just fine, then you're doing just fine, Diva, and that's fine. So, good.
Thank you so much for answering.
Yes.
Of course, Whitney.
That was very well said. I love the way you put that.
Okay, y'all, that's gonna be it for this episode. Thanks again, CJ, for coming on and answering our questions. I hope you had a good time.
Yes, thank you for having me. I was a little jealous that Mike got on before me, but it is what it is.
Okay, y'all, now we can talk about how you can try to cope with some of these symptoms in case you suspect that you do have ADHD. So, a couple of things you can try are like self-reflecting exercises where you could try journaling, write down like the patterns you see, like, oh, I had trouble focusing in class today. This is what I did, like that this is what made me distracted, or like just things that you might think are ADHD symptoms. Um and then obviously there's the notes app where you can just pull that out really quickly and be like, "Oh, this is like something I did like before you." And you want to do it like in the moment. Like I know it's hard to remember in the moment. And then it could be hard to remember like after if you're trying to journal. So just, pull out the notes app really quickly and like just jot it down really quickly. Um
That could also be really good for if you want to this like if you decide you do want to go and get tested, then you have like proof like okay, well, this is what I'm experiencing like this day and like how it's different than just oh like I was a little more inattentive this day, but like normally I'm not. Like you actually have like proof that you can show like this is happening on a daily basis.
right,
Yeah.
right.
I will say another thing you could do to help would be like taking an online ADHD like screener. Um, but with a disclaimer, like it is not a diagnosis, but it could help you kind of see where your head's at and if you should seek that professional help. That would really help you if you're really suspecting you have ADHD.
Yeah.
Another thing is just like kind of talk to like the people around you, like your friends, your family, or like whatever your support system looks like. You could even talk to like people who are important in your academic life, like your advisors maybe, or professors, or just kind of like whoever that you could come and be like, hey, like I've noticed this with my grades, or I've noticed this with like my schoolwork and stuff. Like, what do you recommend? Um, and just also like kind of having that support from the people around you.
Yeah. And then overall, once you do see the signs, once you suspect and you've seen patterns um that might indicate that you do have ADHD, and after you've talked to others, there's always professional evaluations where you can, seek a counselor or go to your counseling center on campus and kind of talk to them and listen to their professional help. And then from there, you can decide if you do need to visit a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And yeah, I know there's services here on campus where you can go and talk to someone if you really are suspecting of that you have ADHD.
I agree.
So, I guess to recap everything, we have we talked about some signs which are just inattention, hyperactivity, executive function challenges like planning and organizing, And then the overall emotional impact that you may experience, like anxiety and stress, low self esteem, and just remember that ADHD is normal. There's always help. There's a lot of research, especially now, and that's why we're doing this podcast too, is to destigmatize and try to reach people who feel like they might have ADHD or they might have some symptoms of ADHD. Um,
Right. And we hope you can relate, like, just from listening to, like, our guest here on the podcast and even us. Um, we just hope that this kind of helps, like, reinforce that sense of, like, that this is normal and,
Yeah.
like, you don't have to go through this alone.
exactly.
Yeah. And I think one thing you should do to, take that first step is to, kind of go out of your comfort zone and check out whatever the campus has to offer. And you could see if maybe you want to start counseling or even just finding other peers that probably feel the same as you. I think that'll be a great first step.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. And remember to please take our survey after you listen to this episode, if you chose to listen to this episode or any of the other episodes that we have. Um, and yeah, next episode, we're going to be talking about anxiety and ADHD. So stay tuned for that. But thank you guys for listening.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.